All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, as we all know, the NFL draft is 3 weeks away. It's right around the corner, literally 3 weeks away. How crazy is that? But even though we have multiple first-round picks, an extremely high second-round pick, multiple thirds, tons of opportunities to improve this team, we still have some cap space, and there's still a lot of talented free agents still on the open market that fit the system that would come in and benefit this team in a big way. So, with that being said, I wanted to talk about 5 players specifically that could benefit this team that we can possibly pick up on cheaper style contracts, right? Obviously, these guys aren't going to be holding out for mega deals or anything like that. So 5 guys, let's dive in. Now, with the first player on this list, it's actually pretty obvious. You guys know exactly where I'm going with it. One of the better players in the league today. It's recently released cornerback from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Steven Nelson. 5'11", 195 pounds. Steven Nelson today is considered one of the better cornerbacks in the league. I mean, this is a guy who's really solid in man coverage. I would say that's probably his best trait. Good in deep zone coverage, right? These cover 3 looks where he can really play down the field. I feel like he excels as well. Good in the run game. I mean, this is a productive cornerback over the last couple of seasons, not only just with Pittsburgh, but even with the Chiefs. He's had some solid seasons. 15 games last season, 2 interceptions, and 9 passes defended against. The minute this guy signs a contract with the New York Jets, he would be the team's best corner. He would be the starting cornerback 1. So that's pretty enticing from Nelson's perspective, but we don't really know what's going to be happening with the draft. You know, maybe Caleb Farley falls. Maybe we have our eyes set on Greg Newsome if he's there at spot number 23. Who knows what direction the team will go in as far as the draft is concerned, but what are the facts? The facts are there's a really productive, really talented cornerback on the open market who is not asking for tons and tons of money that the Jets can afford to bring in, and the second we do, he immediately becomes the team's best player at the position. So I definitely feel like the Jets should consider this big time. Next up, we're going to be sticking with the cornerback position here and talking about a player that we know pretty well. Nickel corner, slot corner, Brian Poole. Now, he's been with the Jets for the past couple of seasons, and he's done nothing but produce. The stats back it up. The tape backs it up. Brian Poole, to me personally, I mean, I get that the Jets might feel another way, but from what I've seen from Brian Poole, I think he's undervalued. I think he's worth more than these cheap 1-year, $5 million contracts. I would definitely be bringing him in for the Jets, especially when you're looking at the roster right now when we don't have that solidified starting slot cornerback on the team. K'Wan Williams, another guy who I felt like was or would have been a fantastic fit with this Robert Saleh defense and all that good stuff, is off the board, unavailable. You're looking at that position as a whole. How many times today, right, in today's league, do defenses line up in nickel packages as opposed to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago? The nickel package is so much more common today because we have so much spread stuff really trickling in from the college level. We need starting nickel corners that could hang with slot receivers, right? Brian Poole has been doing that for the last couple of seasons on super cheap contracts. He's still available, so he's not going to be asking for a lot. So all in all, I think Brian Poole should be brought in. Now, you can make the argument, hey, you know, you're just biased because you're a Jet fan and he's been a member of the Jets and he's been pretty good. But I mean, that's exactly my point. I mean, what's plan B? If you were to ask Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas today, what's the plan for the starting nickel corner? Is that option better than Brian Poole? I would say probably not. So if it was me, I'm bringing Poole back. Next up, player number 3 here, and this one's a little bit of a boom or bust style of signing. I've talked to a lot of Jets fans on this one, tried to gauge a lot of opinions. It's ex-Saint, ex-Niner, ex-Buccaneer, outside linebacker Quan Alexander. Okay, 6'1", 227. Early in Alexander's career, this guy was known for flying around the football field, playing with a high motor, a lot of passion, a lot of energy. A guy built for today's league, kind of a lighter, like a thinner framed linebacker, but can still cover running backs out of the flat. A guy who moves well in open space. A guy who's a perfect fit for a 4-3 system as that outside linebacker position. I mean, Quan Alexander did some really good things with Tampa. Always was kind of viewed as a guy with a lot of room to grow, a lot of potential. Never really lived up to it in Tampa. Then he goes and signs a 4-year contract worth $54 million in 2019 with the San Francisco 49ers. So we know Robert Saleh has identified Quan Alexander before in the past. as a really good player, as a fit for this defense. He ended up getting traded to the New Orleans Saints for like a conditional late round pick because he just dealt with injuries and he just didn't really live up to that contract, and the 49ers wanted to clear cap space. But all in all, you're looking at Alexander as a player today, right now. Would he be an upgrade? Would he be a good fit with the New York Jets? And I would say yes, because Robert Saleh wants to install his culture. He wants to add talent, add speed, add energy to this Jets locker room. That's exactly what Quan Alexander provides, but we have to take a look at the injuries, right? He's dealt with a pec tear. He's dealt with Achilles. There's a lot of stuff with Quan Alexander. There's a lot of injury baggage, but at the end of the day, we have to, I mean, this is the question that we always have to go back to. We look at the current roster, and again, this is before the draft. So maybe with a lot of these different guys, these players get signed post-draft if we miss out on a player that we're really looking at. But we're looking at the outside linebacker position currently on the roster who can fit in the 4-3. We don't really have a lot of guys that we feel 1,000% comfortable with moving forward. Like, okay, yeah, we have him there. Great. We don't need to add talent to the room at all. We don't need to add a single player because we have him. Almost like Quinnen Williams and Sheldon Rankins now. We're not going to be like, we feel pretty comfortable about those two positions. We're not going to be like frantically searching for another interior defensive lineman because we have two guys that can, consistently produce, consistently get after passers, stop the run, take on double teams and whatnot. So really what I'm getting at is I think Quan Alexander, you could bring him in on a cheap contract, a 1-year prove-it style of deal, and have him compete in camp. And who knows, maybe he wins the job. We do know he's going to bring leadership. He's seen a lot of football, high defensive IQ, a fast player, good in open space, fits the system. I mean, really, if the Jets maybe have their eye on a Jabril Cox and he goes, out of LSU in the draft and he's, maybe taken before, who else? Maybe Baron Browning out of Ohio State. If the Jets have their eye on a linebacker, I understand wanting to hold off on this position, but if we miss out on a couple guys, I can definitely see Quan being brought in. Next up, player number 4, and I gotta be honest, this isn't really a player, more so a position. So we're gonna be talking about the backup veteran quarterback position here, and we're gonna be going through a couple players that I feel like can fit the bill for the New York Jets. I think this is a position that right now we need to get under wraps. You're not gonna find a veteran quarterback in the draft, and of course, there's so many guys out there. There's so many available guys that you can bring in post-draft, so it's not that big of a deal. But I have my eyes on 3 guys. Nick Mullins, ex-San Francisco 49er, Alex Smith, I think he would be a great fit, and Brian Hoyer, a guy who actually recently met with the New York Jets. I think it's imperative that we bring in a veteran quarterback that has seen a lot of football, a guy who has had ups, he's had downs, a guy who maybe knows the system, like Mullins and Hoyer. And Alex Smith can pick it up, no problem. But we really need, we all know what's going to happen here. We're going to be taking a quarterback at spot number 2. It's probably going to be Zach Wilson. We traded Sam Darnold. The only quarterback on the roster currently is James Morgan. Do you feel comfortable going into next season with a brand new coaching staff, a brand new offensive coordinator, brand new system, brand new offensive weapons, tons of draft picks, being led by a rookie quarterback and a second-year quarterback that didn't play in a single preseason game last season? I don't. I really want that veteran quarterback. I think Alex Smith makes so much sense. Brian Hoyer, because he knows the system. He's been that backup before. He's not going to come in and cause problems. He's not going to try to sabotage Zach Wilson and try to, maybe hold off from giving him information. No, not in the least. We know what these guys bring to the table here. Okay, and Nick Mullins is another guy. There is some injury concerns with Nick Mullins. He's obviously not healthy as we stand right now, throwing arm injury. But I think at the end of the day, one of the biggest reasons why you're bringing in a veteran quarterback, especially to help out a young rookie quarterback with a lot of talent, is because of his mind, is because you need guys like that in the quarterback room in practice. Leading up to games, game planning and whatnot, like knowing where to go with the football, making sure that young quarterback feels comfortable, ready to go for Sunday. So all in all, I really feel like the Jets need to address this veteran mentor backup quarterback position sometime before next season. Now, I'm not saying it needs to be tomorrow. We just need to bring in a competent backup quarterback, a guy who knows the system. Everybody loves a mentor. Everybody loves a guy that they can look up to or lean on for advice. Where would Luke Skywalker be successful if it wasn't for Obi-Wan and Yoda? Would Patrick Mahomes be successful if it wasn't for that season sitting under Alex Smith for an entire year? So let's get it done. Let's bring in a veteran. And last but not least, player number 5 here. I'm sure you guys know who I'm about to talk about, right? Ex-49er, ex-Seattle Seahawk, a guy who I've made countless videos on, cornerback Richard Sherman. Now, I know the latest Jets speculation and rumors say that the Jets aren't interested in bringing Richard Sherman in, and that it's looking like it's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders or the New Orleans Saints, but I think the Jets should reconsider here. Now, look, if Sherman wants $13 million a year, then yeah, I understand not wanting to bring him in, but I think Richard Sherman just provides a team with so much. We're not asking Richard to be Revis in his prime. We're not asking to go try to revitalize what he did in Seattle. I think we would be bringing Richard Sherman in to be that coach on the field, to be that veteran mentor at the cornerback position. Not to mention, I think he would start as well. I think he's a top 2 cornerback on the roster. If we were to bring him in today, he would definitely be the team's best. So he fits the system. He knows the system. He's produced in the system. He's an extension of Robert Saleh and his defensive coaching staff, and he could be a mentor for all of the young cornerbacks in the room already, and we haven't even hit the draft yet. If we bring in Greg Newsome, if we bring in Caleb Farley, if we bring in Melvin Vonwu from Syracuse, whoever it may be, it's always good to have that veteran leader, much like the veteran quarterback, like same kind of avenue we're traveling down here. It's always good to have players to lean on for advice. What better player is there to lean on for cornerbacks in the cover 3, cover 4 system than Richard Sherman, who's probably going to be going to the Hall of Fame because he's played and dominated in this same exact system. So if it was me, I would sign Sherman to a 2-year contract. And again, I know we're rebuilding. I know we're a young team. I know we're not making a Super Bowl push next season, but I really want the veteran leadership on defense. I don't want, 30-year-olds all across the defense. Believe me, I don't. But when it comes to certain positions, I really don't think it'll hurt. Just an extension of the coaching staff is really what I'm trying to get at here. So I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Who are some guys that are out there that you want, right? That you want the Jets to bring in? And of course, we didn't cover everybody. There's still guys out there that I feel like would be upgrades. Jadeveon Clowney's out there. Trey Turner's out there, even though there's some arguments about maybe a system fit and whatnot, and those are all valid. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.